Most people live their entire lives waiting for someday. Someday, when I earn more, I'll start saving. Someday, when I have enough, I'll invest. Someday, when life calms down, I'll take control of my money. But here's the truth. Someday is a thief. It steals your time, your potential, and your freedom. The wealthy don't wait for someday. They start with what they have today. Your first $100,000 won't arrive because the world suddenly changes. It will come because you change. You start saving before you feel ready. You start investing before you feel smart. You start learning before you feel confident. Wealth begins the day you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start acting with purpose. The marketplace is a mirror. It always gives back exactly what you bring. You can't demand $100,000 worth of rewards with $10,000 worth of effort, discipline, or thinking. The world pays for value, not need. You can beg for money or become the kind of person people gladly pay. That's the law of exchange, and it never fails. The rich don't chase money. They create value so large that money has no choice but to find them. And if you want to reach your first $100,000 before 2026, stop asking, where can I get more? And start asking, how can I become more? Because once you grow, your income will follow like a shadow that can't escape the light. You know, one of the greatest illusions people fall for is the belief that money comes from time. They think the longer they work, the richer they'll become. But life doesn't pay you for hours. It pays you for value. You can sit at a desk for 10 hours and earn a little, or spend 1 hour solving a meaningful problem and earn a fortune. It's not the clock that determines your income, it's your contribution. The marketplace isn't emotional, it's mathematical. It doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. When I was young, I used to think that success meant more hours, more hustle, more exhaustion. I thought if I just kept grinding, something would change. But one day, my mentor said something that shifted everything. He said, don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That's when I realized the key was not to work harder, but to become more valuable in the same amount of time. A person who knows how to lead, communicate, and think strategically can do in 1 hour what others can't do in 10. And the marketplace will always notice that difference. See, your job isn't to chase money, it's to become the kind of person money is attracted to. Money moves toward value, it always has, and it always will. So if you want to earn your first $100,000, stop counting the hours and start multiplying your worth. Ask yourself, what problems can I solve? What knowledge can I master? What skills can I develop that make someone else's life easier or business stronger? The moment you start asking those questions, you start walking the path of wealth. When I began to understand this, I made a list of my top 3 income-producing skills. I didn't guess, I observed. I asked, what do people come to me for? What do they appreciate most in my work? Once I identified those things, I dedicated time, just 1 hour a day, to improving them. You'd be amazed at what one focused hour can do over time. A year of consistent growth in one skill can double or even triple your earning power. Because when you grow, your income grows. The marketplace doesn't pay you for what you know, it pays you for what you do with what you know. So here's the secret. You don't need more time, you need more intention. You need to turn ordinary hours into extraordinary results. Think about the last month. How many hours did you spend scrolling, watching, waiting for motivation? What if you had invested that same time learning to negotiate, market, or manage money? You might not see the difference in a week, but give it a year, and you'll be unrecognizable, not just to others, but to yourself. Remember, time will pass whether you grow or not, but value, once built, compounds forever. So don't chase the clock, outgrow it. The world pays those who make the hours count, not those who merely count the hours. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned about money came from a simple truth. It's not how much you make, it's how much you manage. I've met people earning a fortune who are still broke, and I've met people with modest incomes who live in peace with freedom and control. Why? Because wealth isn't built on income, it's built on discipline. If you can't manage $1,000, what makes you think you'll manage 100,000? More money doesn't change your habits, it amplifies them. If you're careless with a little, you'll be reckless with a lot. That's why the first rule of wealth is to master control before you chase growth. And one of the simplest, yet most profound systems ever created for financial freedom is the 70/30 rule. Live on 70% of what you earn, and the rest, 30%, you divide between saving, investing, and personal growth. It's not the complexity of the formula that matters, it's the consistency. Because wealth is not an event, it's a rhythm. It's the daily, weekly, monthly management of your resources that shapes your financial destiny. When I first learned this, I thought, I can barely make ends meet. How can I live on less? But my mentor told me something powerful. He said, if you can't live on 90%, you won't live on 100% either. That was a hard pill to swallow, but it was true. The problem wasn't the size of my paycheck, it was the size of my habits. So I started small. I took a little from each paycheck, 10% for savings, 10% for investments, 10% for learning, and I automated it. I didn't trust my emotions to make that decision every month. Automation was my discipline in disguise, and soon it became second nature. The 70/30 rule works not because it's magical, but because it trains your mind to control money before money controls you. Living on 70% teaches you contentment. Saving 10% teaches you patience. Investing 10% teaches you growth. And spending 10% on self-development teaches you that your greatest asset isn't your job, it's you. The rich understand this law deeply. They don't let lifestyle expand faster than wisdom. They keep their expenses fixed even as income rises. Why? Because every extra dollar isn't meant for consumption, it's meant for creation. Think about this. If you started earning more tomorrow, would your spending rise immediately to match it? That's the trap that keeps millions working hard but never free. The secret is not to inflate your lifestyle, but to expand your investments. The goal isn't to impress others, it's to secure your future. Every dollar you save or invest is a little soldier marching out to earn more soldiers for you. But every dollar you waste on impulse becomes a deserter. It works for someone else. So ask yourself tonight, can you build the habit of living on less so that your future can grow on more? Because wealth is never a miracle, it's management. When you master the 70/30 rule, you don't just earn money, you earn freedom. And once you taste that freedom, you'll never go back to living on the edge again. One of the greatest turning points in my life came when I realized that the best investment I could ever make wasn't in the stock market, or in real estate, or even in a business, it was in myself. The truth is, your income rarely exceeds your level of knowledge. What you know today determines what you earn tomorrow. And yet, most people stop learning the moment they leave school. They think education ends with a diploma. But the wealthy, they know something different. They understand that school gives you a living, but self-education gives you a fortune. When I was young, I wasn't wealthy. In fact, I was broke, working hard but hardly moving forward. I thought effort alone would change my life. But effort without direction is like running in circles. You get tired, but you don't get far. Then someone handed me a book that completely shifted my thinking. It wasn't about luck or talent. It was about growing the mind. I realized that money doesn't respond to need, it responds to skill. And if I could grow in understanding, I could grow in value. The moment I started feeding my mind, my circumstances began to change. The key is to study what produces wealth, not random information, but the kind that multiplies results. Learn the art of communication because the world pays those who can move people with words. Learn leadership because people follow vision, not orders. Learn sales because nothing moves in the marketplace until something is sold. Learn investing because money should eventually work harder for you than you work for it. The more you know about these things, the more the world will pay for what you offer. I made it a habit to read at least one book a month on money or business. It wasn't about finishing the book, it was about finding the one idea that could transform my thinking. I'd underline sentences, take notes, and apply one principle every week. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but the application was where the real learning happened. That's when theory became experience, and experience became wisdom. Don't just collect information, convert it into income through action. And here's another secret. Teaching multiplies understanding. When you share what you've learned, you cement it in your own mind. The act of explaining forces you to simplify, and simplicity breeds mastery. I used to hold small gatherings with a few friends where we'd discuss a concept I'd read that week, and every time I walked away sharper, clearer, and more confident. So if you want to reach your first $100,000, make your mind your greatest asset. Read more than you scroll. Listen more than you speak. Apply more than you plan. Because when you grow your knowledge, your income has no choice but to follow. The world always pays more to those who know more, especially those who turn knowledge into action. One of the greatest financial dangers a person can face is depending on a single source of income. You see, if one stream dries up, the river stops flowing, and so does your security. Most people live their entire lives standing on one financial leg, hoping it never gives out. But hope is not a strategy. The wealthy think differently. They understand that true freedom comes not from a single paycheck, but from multiple streams flowing together, some large, some small, but all working quietly to support the same goal: independence. When I was younger, I used to think one good job was all I needed. I told myself, if I just work hard enough, I'll be safe. But then life happened. Unexpected bills, changes in the economy, and opportunities I couldn't afford to take. I realized then that relying on one income was like building a castle on sand. So I made a decision. I'd build new streams, slowly, consistently, one at a time. I started by monetizing what I already knew. I turned my knowledge into talks, my notes into products, and my experience into opportunities. Each small stream eventually joined the next until I had built a financial river that no single storm could wash away. That's what you must begin to do. Don't wait until you're wealthy to diversify. Diversify so you can become wealthy. Start small. Take a skill, a talent, a hobby, something you already know how to do, and ask, how can I turn this into value for someone else? Maybe it's writing, designing, coaching, teaching, or fixing something better than most people can. Package it, offer it, and let the marketplace decide its worth. Every extra dollar earned from that effort is a seed of independence. Here's the principle. Take 20% of what you earn from your main job and channel it into something that builds another stream. Maybe that means funding an online business, investing in dividend stocks, or creating digital products that sell while you sleep. The first few months might not yield much, but remember, streams start as trickles. What matters is that they begin. Over time, they grow stronger, more consistent, and more rewarding. Then, once the profits start flowing, don't spend them, reinvest them, turn them into scalable assets. If your side hustle brings in income, use it to build something that can run without you. Automation, digital systems, or investments that compound. Because the goal isn't just to make more money, it's to make money that doesn't need you to keep earning. That's when freedom begins. When your money starts working harder than you do. Imagine this. One stream pays for your needs, another pays for your dreams, and a third funds your growth. When one falters, the others sustain you. That's not luck, that's structure. That's wisdom. Don't build your life on a single paycheck. Build it on a network of value that can weather any storm. The day you create your second income stream, you step out of survival and into freedom. And once you've felt that freedom, you'll never settle for just one stream again. Debt is one of those silent traps that doesn't announce itself loudly, but once it catches you, it quietly dictates your life. It's like a chain around your ankle, shiny at first, comforting even, because it lets you enjoy something now, but over time, it tightens. And before long, you find yourself working not for freedom, but for obligation. Debt steals tomorrow's peace to pay for today's impatience. And if you ever want to sprint towards your first $100,000, you can't do it while dragging financial chains behind you. When I was young, I learned this the hard way. I used to think debt was normal. Everybody had it, credit cards, car payments, personal loans. It felt like part of being an adult. But one day I sat down and added it all up. The numbers didn't just shock me, they scared me. I realized I wasn't earning money anymore. I was renting it. The interest I was paying wasn't buying me comfort, it was buying me regret. My mentor once told me, debt can be a servant if you control it, but it becomes a tyrant if you don't. And that day I decided I would never let debt own me again. The first step was to get brutally honest. I wrote down every debt, every card, every loan, every amount, and every interest rate. Because you can't fix what you refuse to face. I lined them up from worst to least and made a plan. The highest interest would go first. Every extra dollar, every side income, every bonus, I sent it straight to that one. And when I cleared it, I celebrated. Not with spending, but with gratitude. Because every debt I erased felt like reclaiming a piece of my freedom. The beauty of eliminating debt isn't just in the financial numbers, it's in what it does to your spirit. Each step forward builds confidence. Each payment is a promise to your future self that says, I'm taking control. And once you feel that momentum, it changes how you see money forever. You stop chasing temporary pleasures and start craving long-term peace. But here's what's important. Don't wait until you're debt-free to start building better habits. While you're paying down debt, you must also practice saving, even if it's small, $5, $10. It trains your mind to keep something for yourself. You can't just dig out of the hole. You've got to start building the foundation at the same time. Debt elimination and saving go hand in hand. The one frees you, the other sustains you. I want you to imagine what life would feel like if every paycheck was fully yours. No more interest payments, no more owing, just clean, clear ownership. That's not just financial freedom, it's emotional freedom. Because once you defeat debt, you won't just have more money, you'll have more control, more confidence, and the clarity to build real wealth. Freedom begins when you stop paying for the past and start investing in your future. We often fool ourselves into thinking we just need motivation to get rich, to hit that first $100,000. We wait for the surge of inspiration, the spark that tells us today is the day I start. But let me tell you something I've learned. Motivation is fleeting. It comes in waves, And if you rely on it alone, you'll spend most of your life riding highs and crashing into lows. The secret, the real engine of wealth, isn't motivation, it's systems. When you create reliable structures, habits, and routines, you remove the need for daily bursts of willpower. You let the process carry you quietly, consistently, without drama. Years ago, I realized I couldn't trust myself to remember every month to save or invest. Some months I was disciplined, others I wasn't. The result? Stalled progress, frustration, and opportunities lost. That's when I shifted my focus from trying to be motivated to creating systems that made wealth building automatic. I set up automatic transfers the moment my paycheck hit the account. 10% to savings, 10% to investments, 10% to personal growth. It happened whether I felt like it or not. That small, seemingly mundane action compounded over the years into a fortune far beyond what my inconsistent motivation could have produced. Systems aren't limited to money alone. They include how you track spending, review goals, and educate yourself. I put weekly reminders to check my finances and review progress. I didn't let myself fall into the trap of I'll check next week. I used visual tracking, charts, graphs, journals to see momentum in action. Progress isn't just numbers, it's a psychological reward that reinforces discipline. Every time I watched the savings grow or debt shrink, it reminded me that the system works, that effort compounded, and that freedom is being earned silently, steadily. The beauty of systems is they make life easier, not harder. Motivation can push you forward, but systems pull you through. They don't tire, don't get distracted, and don't waver when life gets complicated. Your first $100,000 isn't about grand gestures or massive inspiration. It's about the small, repeated actions your systems enforce day after day. You don't feel wealthy at every step, but one day you open an account and realize your money has been working quietly for you, growing while you focused on living your life. So, don't wait for inspiration. Don't rely on feeling disciplined today or tomorrow. Create systems that automatically guide your money, your learning, and your habits. Automate savings, automate investments, automate tracking, and watch how wealth builds itself over time. Systems make success inevitable. They don't ask if you're in the mood, they just work. Start today and let the process turn small actions into massive results. You know, most people think their job is the only thing that determines their financial future. They clock in, clock out, and assume that everything else is just free time to relax or scroll through social media. But let me tell you, that free time, the hours after work, the early mornings before the sun rises, the weekends that feel endless, these are the hours that truly build your life beyond your job. What you do with them today will decide whether you're still dreaming about $100,000 or actively reaching for it before 2026. The rich understand this intuitively. They don't just work for money during office hours, they work on themselves, their ideas, and their assets in every spare moment. I remember the early days when I had a modest paycheck and a long commute. Most evenings, I could have plopped down in front of the television and let the world pass me by. Instead, I made a decision. I would dedicate at least 1 hour every night to improving myself, learning, or building something that would pay dividends later. Sometimes it was reading a book on sales. Sometimes it was drafting plans for a small side venture. Other times it was learning new skills that would make me more valuable at work. 1 hour might not seem like much in a day, but a week became 7 hours, a month became 28 hours, a year became hundreds of hours invested in growth, not mere distraction. It's not about denying yourself entertainment entirely. It's about conscious choice. Limit mindless scrolling and passive consumption to scheduled breaks. Replace downtime with build time. That hour each day is a seed that grows over months and years. You don't see the change immediately, but over time, the compounding effect of small, consistent action becomes undeniable. That skill you sharpen, that side hustle you nurture, that knowledge you accumulate, it all starts producing results long before you realize it. I've seen countless individuals watch their peers spend evenings aimlessly, while quietly, in their spare hours, they built businesses, mastered skills, and invested in opportunities that eventually propelled them far ahead. The key is consistency. You don't have to spend 8 hours every night working. Just an hour, applied with discipline, multiplied over weeks and months, can create extraordinary results. When you look back, you'll see that the time you devoted after work made the difference between staying average and building a real financial future. Your first $100,000 and the freedom it brings comes from leveraging your free hours wisely. So, I challenge you today, identify your hour of power, protect it, schedule it, and use it intentionally. Trade just 1 hour of distraction for creation, learning, or growth. Let your free time be the engine that accelerates your journey, not the excuse that keeps you stalled. Start tonight and watch how compounding effort transforms your life. You see, most people want wealth overnight. They chase quick fixes, lottery tickets, or get-rich schemes, hoping that a single windfall will carry them to $100,000. But the truth is that real wealth is rarely instantaneous. It's a climb, a steady ascent built on daily action, wise choices, and patient persistence. Yet patience doesn't mean idleness. There's a balance here, patience coupled with urgency. You act now with focus and discipline while trusting that the results will compound over time. Every small step you take today builds momentum for the large victories of tomorrow. I remember starting out with very little. I didn't have the luxury of large sums to invest or a booming business. What I had was time, focus, and a commitment to daily action. I set clear targets, what I wanted in 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. Each week, I would measure small wins. Did I save a little more, learn a new principle, or invest a small amount? Those incremental steps seemed insignificant at the moment, but over months, they compounded into a powerful trajectory toward financial growth. Progress isn't always obvious, but it's cumulative. That's the magic of momentum. The secret is to keep moving. Small progress beats postponed perfection every time. Don't wait for the perfect market, the perfect income, or the perfect opportunity. Start today with what you have, where you are. Review your progress monthly. Adjust your steps if necessary, but never halt the climb. When you combine patient persistence with daily urgency, you set yourself on a path where compounding effort works in your favor. Wealth doesn't appear overnight, but if you start now, measure consistently, and remain disciplined, the $100,000 goal becomes not a dream, but a predictable outcome. Trust the process, act every day, and let the power of time and momentum transform your efforts into lasting financial achievement. Too often, people confuse wealth with appearance. They chase status symbols, cars, gadgets, vacations, thinking that looking rich is the same as being rich. But real wealth doesn't announce itself. It grows quietly, steadily and invisibly, until one day you realize you've built financial freedom while others were busy keeping up appearances. The principle is simple. Spend to become rich, not to look rich. If every dollar you earn either builds assets or compounds towards your future, you're playing the long game. If it only buys recognition or fleeting pleasure, it's working against you. When I started my own financial journey, I made the conscious choice to delay gratification. I didn't have much, but I refused to inflate my lifestyle just to impress others. Instead of buying a fancy car, I invested in books, courses, and small business ventures. Every dollar directed toward assets became a soldier working for me, generating more income, compounding, and multiplying over time. I learned the hard way that spending on appearances gives instant satisfaction but long-term emptiness. This principle applies not just to large purchases, but to everyday choices, bonuses, tax refunds, or gifts. Rather than spending them on indulgences, channel them into investments that grow. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, will this make me money or cost me money? Let your assets grow first. Only reward yourself from profits, not from your principal. That distinction separates those who accumulate real wealth from those who merely maintain the illusion of it. Wealth is a product of quiet discipline, strategic allocation, and patience. By focusing on building assets before appearances, you're laying the foundation for true financial freedom, where luxuries and comforts are the byproducts of smart decisions, not the goal itself. Start today and let your assets do the talking. Too often, people think wealth is only about numbers, formulas, or strategies. Yet the truth is, money is mostly a game of psychology. 80% of financial success comes from how you think and feel about money, and only 20% from the mechanics of spreadsheets, interest rates, or investment vehicles. Fear, greed, and impulse are silent killers of wealth. You can have the perfect plan, but if your emotions hijack your decisions, you will sabotage your own progress. Mastery over your mind is mastery over your money. I remember early in my journey, I watched friends and colleagues panic during small market dips. They sold their investments in fear, only to see them rebound days later. Meanwhile, others bought impulsively during hype, chasing trends that soon collapsed. I learned that emotional reactivity erodes gains faster than any poor investment strategy ever could. The lesson was clear: control the mind, and money will follow. The practical path is simple but not easy. Never make financial decisions when emotions are high, fear, excitement, or frustration. Wait at least 24 hours before acting. Keep a journal of triggers. Note when you spend or sell out of emotion. Reflection builds awareness, and awareness builds control. Additionally, practice gratitude. Focusing on what you already have shifts your mind from scarcity to abundance, tempering the impulses of fear and greed. Wealth grows steadily when you respond to money logically, with discipline, patience, and clarity. Emotions will always be there, but when you recognize them as signals rather than commands, you can make choices that serve your long-term goals. Over time, this emotional intelligence compounds just like money, creating a mindset that attracts opportunities, protects assets, and ensures decisions are aligned with your vision. Control your emotions, and you control your wealth. If you want to reach your first $100,000, you must understand a truth that few grasp. Money should work as hard as you do, even when you aren't actively working. I've always said that if your money isn't working while you sleep, you will be forced to work while you should be resting. This is the distinction between laboring for every dollar and letting money become your silent partner, compounding quietly in the background, building your future. The wealthy know that trading hours for dollars has a ceiling, but creating systems where money works 24/7 has no limit. It's not just about earning more, it's about leveraging what you already have to generate ongoing income that doesn't require your constant attention. The strategy is simple but profound. Invest in assets that generate passive or residual income. These are the financial instruments that continue to pay you, whether it's dividends from stocks, rental income from property, royalties from creative work, or returns from business investments. The principle is to make your money work harder than you do. When you focus on building assets that generate income independently, you break free from the linear limitations of time-based earnings. You create a momentum that grows quietly but exponentially as each reinvested dollar fuels the next, compounding over months and years. Practical steps make this philosophy actionable. First, identify the vehicles where money can earn money for you. Stocks with dividends provide regular payouts, real estate can offer consistent rental income, and intellectual property such as books, courses, or digital products can keep sending checks into your account long after the initial effort. The point isn't to chase gimmicks or get-rich-quick schemes, but to find reliable, reproducible methods where your resources continually generate value. This is how ordinary income transforms into extraordinary wealth over time. Second, commit to reinvesting all earnings rather than spending them immediately. It's tempting to reward yourself after a first payout or a small return, but doing so too early diminishes the power of compounding. Think of every dividend, rental payment, or royalty as a tiny seed planted back into your portfolio, and it multiplies quietly, creating a forest over time. I learned this principle early in my own life. A modest investment in knowledge and assets, consistently reinvested, created a financial cushion far beyond what sporadic, impulse-based spending could ever achieve. Third, automate contributions whenever possible. Whether it's an automatic transfer to a brokerage account, scheduled reinvestment of dividends, or setting aside a portion of your income for a real estate fund, systems remove human error and emotional temptation. When you automate, you allow consistency to take over. And consistency, as I've said often, compounds wealth more reliably than bursts of motivation. You don't rely on memory, willpower, or mood. The system simply works, quietly building momentum toward your first $100,000 and beyond. By combining knowledge, discipline, and systematic reinvestment, you can ensure that your money is working around the clock. You no longer need to be chained to a desk or a job to grow your wealth. Instead, you create multiple income streams that compound your resources while you focus on higher value activities, learning, and enjoying life. Making money work 24/7 is not just about finance. It's about freedom, opportunity, and taking control of your destiny. Start today, plant the seeds, automate the growth, and let your money do the heavy lifting. The first $100,000 is a milestone, but the real reward is building a life where wealth works for you, not the other way around. If you want to reach your first $100,000, you must begin to treat your finances not as a casual set of numbers, but as a business. Every successful company knows this truth. What gets measured gets improved. Wealth is no different. You cannot improve what you do not track, and you cannot control what you do not understand. Most people drift through life, checking bank balances occasionally, unaware of where their money is going or how their assets are performing. That approach ensures mediocrity. But when you treat your personal finances like a business with clarity, measurement, and accountability, you take control of the outcomes. Suddenly, every decision becomes intentional, every dollar has a purpose, and every month provides insight into progress or gaps. The philosophy is simple. Wealth grows when it's managed with precision. I learned early on that managing my money without a clear system is like steering a ship without a compass. You may move, but you will drift, wasting energy and missing opportunity. A business owner doesn't wait to feel rich to measure profits. They look at the books every month, analyze cash flow, review expenses, and make strategic adjustments. Apply that same principle to your personal finances. Every number tells a story, every figure reveals a lesson, and every review is a chance to improve. Clarity turns uncertainty into strategy. The strategy to implement this principle is straightforward. Create a financial dashboard, a simple visual or spreadsheet that shows your income, savings rate, debt levels, investments, and overall net worth. This dashboard becomes your compass. It tells you exactly where you are trending, and whether you are moving toward that first $100,000 or wandering aimlessly. Review it monthly, as if you were presenting to investors who expect results. Ask yourself, is my money working for me? Am I allocating resources wisely? Am I controlling expenses, increasing value, and generating returns? Using numbers rather than feelings prevents impulsive decisions and emotional spending, which is the silent enemy of wealth. The practical steps make this actionable. First, set up your financial dashboard. It doesn't need to be complicated. Even a spreadsheet or an app can serve the purpose. Include monthly income, savings contributions, investment balances, and debts. Net worth is your ultimate scorecard. It combines all the moving parts into one metric of progress. Second, schedule a monthly review. Treat it as a board meeting. Examine what worked, what didn't, and which strategies need adjustment. The difference between those who build wealth and those who don't often lies in this monthly discipline. Third, adjust your strategies based on real numbers, not feelings. If you're underinvesting, cut expenses. If a debt isn't shrinking, reprioritize payments. Use data to guide action rather than letting emotion dictate your financial choices. By tracking your progress like a business, you develop not only clarity but also accountability and confidence. You will begin to see patterns, discover inefficiencies, and celebrate wins. Wealth becomes predictable because you treat it as a system, not luck. Measurement fosters discipline. Discipline produces action, and action compounds into results. When you track your money, you no longer drift, you steer. You control the outcomes, you optimize resources, and you accelerate toward your $100,000 milestone. Start today. Build your financial dashboard and review it monthly. Treat your money like the most important business you own, because it is. If you want to reach your first $100,000 before 2026, there is one truth that separates those who build lasting wealth from those who burn out chasing numbers. Money without purpose is just a number. Money is a servant, not a master. It is a tool designed to support the life you want, not the life that society dictates. Too often, people chase profits blindly, counting dollars without asking why they matter. That path leads to frustration, impatience, and wasted energy. But when you tie your financial goals to a higher purpose, freedom, family, personal growth, or contribution, every dollar becomes a vehicle for meaning. Purpose gives wealth direction, and direction sustains discipline over the long journey. The philosophy is straightforward. Wealth built without purpose is fragile. Wealth built with purpose is unstoppable. I have seen many people earn money quickly only to squander it because there was no why behind it. Without meaning, money becomes a temptation rather than a tool. Purpose creates clarity. When you know why you want $100,000, whether to secure your family's future, start a business, or create opportunities for others, each decision is guided by that clarity. Spending less, saving more, investing intelligently, and enduring temporary discomfort becomes not a sacrifice, but a deliberate step toward fulfilling your life's mission. Your why transforms ordinary financial habits into extraordinary acts of intention. The strategy is to align every financial choice with your values and long-term vision. Start by defining the personal why behind your goal. This is not a vague wish like I want money, but a concrete reason that resonates emotionally. Perhaps you desire freedom to travel, the ability to invest in your children's education, or the capacity to support causes you care about. Whatever it is, make it vivid. Visualize how having $100,000 will enable you to live your purpose. When progress feels slow or obstacles appear, this clarity will fuel patience, resilience, and focus. Purpose turns the grind into meaning, and meaning sustains the habits that compound wealth. Practical steps make this actionable. First, write down your personal why behind the $100,000 goal. Be honest, specific, and emotionally connected. Don't just say, I want money. Describe how it will change your life, the lives of your family, or the world around you. Second, visualize daily what achieving this goal will allow you to accomplish. See yourself free from worry, empowered to act, and capable of creating value for others. Visualization strengthens your mental connection to the goal and reinforces behavior that aligns with your purpose. Third, let this purpose drive patience. Wealth is rarely instant, progress may feel slow, and setbacks may test your resolve. Purpose ensures that you remain committed, turning obstacles into lessons and delays into opportunities for growth. When your goal is tied to meaning, the journey itself becomes rewarding, and discipline becomes natural rather than forced. When you build wealth with purpose rather than chasing mere profit, everything changes. Saving becomes fulfilling, investing becomes intentional, and earning becomes meaningful. Your first $100,000 is not just a milestone, it becomes a testament to your vision, your discipline, and your values. Purpose transforms financial goals into life goals, and life goals into a journey worth taking. Start today by defining your why. Visualize your life with financial freedom, and let purpose guide every decision. Wealth with purpose is not just earned, it is lived. We often think of wealth as a number in the bank, a balance sheet, or a series of transactions. But true wealth is far greater than money itself. True wealth outlives you. It is the mindset, the habits, and the principles that you pass on, the legacy you leave behind. If your goal is to reach your first $100,000, do not focus only on accumulation. Focus on what your financial journey can teach others. Because the richest people are not those who hoard dollars, but those who cultivate knowledge, values, and opportunity that continue to grow even when they are no longer present. Wealth that stops with you is temporary. Wealth that spreads through education, mentorship, and example becomes eternal. The philosophy is simple. Money is a tool, but influence is a multiplier. Your earnings are important, but the lessons you learn on the way to your first $100,000, discipline, delayed gratification, smart investing, resourcefulness, are priceless. When you share those lessons, you not only help others avoid mistakes, you also solidify your own understanding. Teaching reinforces knowledge. Explaining principles to someone else forces clarity, reflection, and better decision-making. I have witnessed this many times in my own life. Early in my career, I began mentoring younger colleagues, sharing simple strategies for budgeting, saving, and skill building. As I taught, my own understanding deepened. The act of giving knowledge became a form of personal wealth creation far beyond the paycheck I earned. The strategy is to actively leave a legacy while you build your financial foundation. Start with your family. Make conversations about money natural and frequent. Children and spouses who understand financial principles from an early age are empowered to make smarter choices later. Second, document your lessons along the way. Keep a journal or notes on what works and what doesn't in saving, investing, and earning. These insights become a roadmap not only for you, but for those who follow. Finally, mentor someone who is just beginning their financial journey. This does not require grand gestures or large sums of money. Consistency and willingness to share your experience is enough. Generosity and knowledge, like generosity and resources, compounds over time. Practical steps make this actionable. First, make financial discussions a regular part of home life. Talk about budgeting, the importance of saving, and your investment plans. Let others see your process, struggles, and progress. Second, write down lessons from your journey to $100,000. Include what worked, mistakes to avoid, and personal reflections. This documentation becomes a treasure trove for future generations and a personal checkpoint for accountability. Third, find someone to mentor, a friend, a sibling, or a colleague, and guide them with principles you've learned. Celebrate their wins and see your own growth mirrored in their success. This act of teaching transforms wealth from a personal achievement into a shared movement. By leaving a legacy, you redefine wealth from what you have to what you give. A balance sheet may fade, but habits, wisdom, and influence endure. Your first $100,000 is not merely a financial milestone, it becomes the foundation for a culture of prosperity, responsibility, and knowledge. The goal is not just to earn, but to elevate others while you rise. Begin today by sharing one principle, documenting one lesson, and mentoring one person. Wealth that lives on is wealth that matters. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to reflect on one undeniable truth. Wealth is not a matter of luck, timing, or circumstance. It is the natural outcome of consistent action, wise choices, and the mindset you cultivate every single day. You see, reaching your first $100,000 is not about chasing quick wins or waiting for a sudden opportunity to appear. It's about building habits that compound over time, about making your money work for you, and about growing yourself so that opportunities have a place to land when they come. Every principle we discussed today, thinking in value, living on less than you earn, investing in yourself, building multiple streams of income, managing debt wisely, automating systems, and leaving a legacy, is designed to give you both direction and control over your financial destiny. The challenge I give you is this: don't just leave here inspired, leave here determined to act. Inspiration without action is like a seed dropped on concrete. It will never grow. You must plant that seed in fertile soil, in your daily habits, your discipline, your choices, and nurture it consistently. Track every dollar, protect your time, invest in your education, and treat each decision as a step towards your first $100,000. Wealth is not magic. It is the result of countless small, deliberate actions repeated without fail. Each day, ask yourself, am I moving closer to my goals or am I drifting? Let that question guide your decisions. I also want to remind you that your financial journey is about more than numbers. It is about creating freedom, security, and opportunity for yourself and those you love. The money you earn and the assets you build should ultimately serve a higher purpose, whether that is family, service, or leaving a legacy of knowledge and empowerment. True wealth is measured not only in dollars, but in the impact you make, the wisdom you pass on, and the life you design for yourself. Never underestimate the power of intention and clarity. Define your goals, write them down, visualize them, and let them drive your daily actions. The mind always follows what the heart believes and the eyes can see. So here is your call to action. Take one step immediately. Automate a savings plan. Start a small investment. Read a book that grows your skills. Or mentor someone else with what you've learned. Begin today, because the best time to build your wealth was yesterday, and the next best time is now. Small, consistent steps, repeated daily, will take you farther than any occasional giant leap. Decide now that you will not be satisfied with mediocrity. Decide now that you will be among those who act, who learn, who grow, and who leave a legacy. Your first $100,000, your financial freedom, and the life you dream of are waiting. All it requires is your disciplined, purposeful action starting today.